Hey everyone, today is January 26th, 2026. We're currently standing right on Central Park South, adjacent the Plaza Hotel, and we're going to be exploring New York City's 5th Avenue after the major snowstorm that dropped 11 inches of snow on Central Park. Now, it's also currently freezing out. It's about -4 degrees here in New York City. And it's only going to get colder as the week goes on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this walk started. Now, much of the city has been cleared, but Central Park is still covered with snow. This right here is looking at the Metropolitan Club. And then this is the famous Pierre Hotel. A little bit further in the distance, you can see the famous San Remo, which is one of my favorite Emery Roth buildings on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And then, of course, you have the Plaza Hotel as well as the spire of 111 West 57th Street. The skinniest residential apartment building in the world. We're going to make a left on 59th Street, Central Park South. You also might notice a lot of the barricades, the construction across the street. That is going to be the newly renovated Grand Army Plaza South, which should be finished by the end of the winter. And of course you have the famous Sherry Netherland Hotel at 781 5th Avenue. That sits right next to the General Motors building. But I'll give you one more look back at all the snow here right on the border of Central Park. Definitely seems like we did get that full 11 inches. Further upstate New York and in Westchester County saw upwards of 17 inches of snow. Now, I always say this, the worst part about a snowstorm in New York is not the snow itself, it's the cleanup thereafter. Here's a good example of these people trudging through the snow. This is all wet, icy slush that makes it very, very difficult to navigate, particularly if you're going to work and you're dressing up in a suit. You don't have snow boots on. Here's another example. Look at the mounds of snow here. Everyone's trying to trudge through. Definitely need to give yourself plenty of time. We're now standing right across from the flagship Apple store on 5th Avenue. Walking through a good, I'd say, maybe 4 inches of snow.
And I was like, you what? And she goes, yeah, I need it.
They probably should have removed the barricades before the snowstorm, because this sidewalk is definitely not like a sidewalk anymore. And leading all the way up until Friday, New York City is going to be battling with potential sub-zero Fahrenheit temperatures. If I zoom even further up, or I should say southbound on 5th, just look at the snowbanks that completely cover the bus lane. Look at that. Let's just say it's pretty much impossible to cross on the corner of 58th Street. We're now coming right next to the Bergdorf Goodman. This sidewalk seems pretty clean. But the bus lanes are pretty much non-existent. I mean, guys, look at this. The huge snowdrifts completely blocking the bus lane. This is the 5th Avenue and West 58th Street bus stop. And it doesn't look like the city has shoveled out the bus stop yet. So I wonder what everybody does when they're about ready to take the bus. I mean, look at this. That's a good probably 2 feet of snow in this snowdrift. We're now about to pass the Amman, New York, which is in the Crown Building. And adjacent to us is the Tiffany flagship building on 5th Avenue. Tiffany is now owned by LVMH, Moët Hennessy, and then of course you can see the Louis Vuitton trunk. This sidewalk is a little bit better. Just very, very slippery. Really got to watch out. You can see how wet the road is, and tonight it might feel like sub-zero with the wind chill. Here's a really nice shot of the Sherry Netherland Hotel. Now, the Louis Vuitton trunk is just the covering to the scaffolding. We're now going to continue on southbound. This is going to be the intersection of 56th Street. And we are standing across the street from Trump Tower. At least the steam is melting a lot of the snow on this side of 5th. We'll see if it improves much as we continue to head south. This is another really exciting project with all the scaffolding. This is going to be the brand new flagship store for Harry Winston. Look at that slush puddle. And here I'll give you one more look at the full facade of Trump Tower. This is a mixed-use building. You have condominiums in the top portion, but you also have commercial office space in Trump Tower as well. And then, of course, you have the retail that is occupied by Gucci. And, of course, the lobby of the Trump Tower is open to the public. It is public space. And there's restaurants down there. There's an entire cafeteria. This building that we're looking at right here is the St. Regis. And on our side of the street, on 55th, you'll have the Peninsula Hotel. Of course, the sidewalks right outside the peninsula are completely clear, as one would expect. But look at this huge slush puddle here. That's why for the next week it's going to be really important to wear boots. Now, even Meta opened up a retail flagship on 5th Avenue. Speaking of Meta, they are going to be reporting earnings this week. The vast majority of the Magnificent Seven will actually be reporting earnings this week. Right here on the corner of 54th Street is the University Club. I always point this out every time we walk down 5th Avenue. But the University Club, this building was originally designed by McKim, Mead & White. It was completed in 1899. Now, McKim, Mead & White, you probably are familiar. They also did the original Penn Station. You'll have to check out our walking tour of the brand new Moynihan Train Hall, as well as the James A. Farley Post Office that is still in operation. It's a beautiful building. And here you can see the Mandarin Oriental residences on 5th Avenue. We'll go ahead and check out how the other side of the street looks. Just out of curiosity. It looks like they've plowed a pretty decent pathway, but it is slippery. Probably tonight, all of this is going to turn into black ice. from this side of the street, we'll be able to see St. Thomas Church. St. Thomas Church is located right here on the corner of 53rd Street. And I will quickly take a moment to show you all how beautiful the facade is. There's about maybe a 2-foot tall snowbank right in front of St. Thomas Church. But it still looks beautiful. And of course, we talked about this new building many times, but this is going to be the brand new headquarters of Rolex for New York City on 53rd Street and 5th. They did a really good job with the design of the building. I really like it. Here on 52nd Street, if you were to make a right, you'll run into a really good coffee shop called Watch House. And adjacent, of course, you have the Cartier store, as well as Ferragamo. The one thing I have noticed, though, after the storm is the air quality feels really, really good. As the snow particles kind of rip out all the toxins from the air. We'll go ahead and make this right. Look at this little teeny path that everybody has to squeeze through. It's the only way to get to the other side of the street. But architecturally speaking, look at how gorgeous the Cartier flagship is. It's a beautiful facade, and the building right next to it used to be the headquarters of Versace. That used to be their main flagship. That is no longer, and now Kim Kardashian's brand called Skims, S-K-I-M-S, has now taken over that flagship storefront. We'll now walk right past St. Patrick's. For whatever reason, this material on the sidewalk is very, very slippery. Oftentimes when you're walking down Fifth Avenue in front of the more luxury retail shops, maybe it'll be granite, sometimes it'll be marble, you just don't know. Some of them are slipperier than the others. But the sidewalks seem pretty clear. This is looking at St. Patrick's Cathedral now. Such a stunning looking building, and you can see just a little bit of the spire of 270 Park Avenue. Very tight squeeze here. You know, it looks like the bus stop right in front of St. Patrick's is completely clear. And I have a theory as to why that is. This is because we're right in front of Rockefeller Center. For whatever reason, every single year in and around Rockefeller Center, they have these tremendous bulldozers, as you can see. I mean, look at the pile of snow that pushed. And they have these tremendous bulldozers that pick up the snow, put it in a dump truck, and then they'll remove it to either the Hudson River or the East River, I believe. And perhaps that's because they have a private company doing that. I don't know 100% for sure, but I could imagine just the quality of the tenants at Rockefeller Center, and being how touristed it is. It's a very high traffic area in New York. The snow removal seems to be of the best quality. We're now right across the street from Saks Fifth Avenue. Saks filed for bankruptcy, I believe, last week. And they still have all of their Christmas decorations up. But obviously the light show isn't in operation anymore, but they still have the lights up. We'll quickly make a brief detour. We're now right here at Rockefeller Center, in which case we'll go check out the ice skating rink. Let's go take a quick look at the rink. Wow, the rink looks beautiful tonight. I was here yesterday, there was about a foot of snow on the rink. They've done a great job of clearing it up. And I'll look all the way up to the very, very top of 30 Rockefeller Center. And now we'll continue on our walk southbound. on 5th. I have to check on the status of an exciting, I would say a repurpose right above the Today Show. Apparently there's going to be a really, really nice hotel out of Aspen, Colorado, I believe. I'll have to do some more research on it. I've just totally left my mind, and I just remembered it today. But as you know, there was a huge glut of office supplies after the pandemic here at Rockefeller Center, and so they decided to repurpose all of the office space above the Today Show studio, and I believe it's going to be a very, very luxurious hotel. The last time I checked, or the last time I looked, it had something to do with a brand or hotel chain out of Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to do a little bit more research on that when I get home to refresh my memory. This is now 5th Avenue and 49th Street. This is really slippery here.
I'll buy myself a jacket.
Here's another tremendous section of snow.
So my complex.
This is now headed right at the Diamond District. 47th Street. Speaking of the Diamond District, there's some major bullion exchanges, and we are now trading at $114 an ounce on silver and over $5,000 an ounce on gold. I believe intraday the precious metal hit 5,100 and change an ounce. Oof, that was big. now give you guys a quick shot of 270 Park Avenue. As you know, that is the brand new office tower for JP Morgan Chase. They've also just opened up the new entrance to Grand Central Madison. Wow, look at how unique 520 Fifth Avenue looks amongst those clouds in the backdrop. 525th is one of the newest luxury condo buildings to go up on New York City's Fifth Avenue. Man, this bus stop is rough as well. I feel like I read something today online that says it's not the city's responsibility to clean the bus stops. I don't know if that's true or not. That sounds crazy. But apparently, I don't know. You'll have to double check. Don't quote me on it. But perhaps it's the responsibility of the store that's outside the bus stop to clear the way. I'm not sure about that. And I think they have 48 hours to clear it. And if they don't, there's $200 fine per day, perhaps. All right, now we're on the corner of 45th Street. Let's see if we get, since I have boots on, we'll try to tough it out. Ooh. Look at how difficult it is for everybody to get out. I'd say it's going to be about a good 2 weeks before anybody could wear normal shoes again. Perhaps even longer.
They got to sit down this morning and then.
And finally, we're strolling all the way down outside of the Stephen Schwartzman building on 42nd Street and 5th. Stephen Schwartzman is the CEO and founder of the private equity giant Blackstone. And he made a $100 million donation to the library for the restoration. hopefully somebody comes by and clears those intersections before it really starts to get dark out. I was looking on the weather app, it might get down to 6 degrees. That means all of that's going to be a rock solid piece of ice. All right, this is now 42nd Street. Now you're looking at the beautiful New York Public Library. That one was a really, really bad one for people that don't have any boots. Look at that. Just pure slush and ice. This is now looking up at the Chrysler Building as well as 1 Vanderbilt.
I said, that's the answer. That's correct.
This is still a pretty narrow sidewalk right outside of the library. It goes from 40th Street all the way to 42nd. And we'll check in on the 2 lions, Patience and Fortitude. Man, this snow is like a rock solid block of ice. I could only imagine what the city will be like, assuming we get another snowstorm on Friday. Now, maybe it won't materialize to the point where they're saying, but it is possible we might have another 8 inches of snow in store for Friday. Under Bryant Park, there's actually a bunker that houses thousands upon thousands of books and articles, and it's only accessible by a book train. Built right under the grass at Bryant Park. So the next time you're at the lawn, at Bryant Park, you could just know that there's tons of books below you. Since we're here, we'll take one quick peek at Bryant Park. This is the Park Terrace Hotel. That's next to the Radiator Building. It's one of my favorite buildings in New York City. The beautiful Art Deco Radiator Building. It seems like the main avenues are pretty clear, but the side streets are a little bit worse in quality. This is now right outside of the Bryant Park Grill. We'll see if the ice skating rink is filled with people tonight. I'd presume so. We're also looking at the SUNY College of Optometry. And this is looking at Bank of America Tower as well as Salesforce Tower. Looks like they're still working on clearing out the snow, but they've really done a fantastic job in doing so far. Looks like you have the Zamboni going around. And it looks like the fountain at Bryant Park is completely frozen. They still have the lodge up. I believe this will be up until March 1st. So there still is a lot of time to enjoy it. We'll go ahead and make a left here and head back to 42nd. And we'll start to head over by Pershing Square.
I know, I love seeing everyone in person that you've seen in camera for so long.
This does look quite nice with all the snow here. This is a really beautiful shot. Looking at the spire of the Chrysler Building and One Vanderbilt. Definitely can't wait until the summer. I'm really over being freezing. We're now headed back towards 5th Avenue, in which case we'll go all the way to Vanderbilt and Park outside of Grand Central Terminal. This is the M5 bus coming through, followed by the M1. I think that goes down to Soho. We'll have to maneuver around the bus. I have boots on. I'll try to make it through. We're going to pass right by the Jollibee. Jollibee is from the Philippines. It's like a fried chicken place from the Philippines. I'm not too sure when they're going to open, though. I mean, they've had all of the signage, the insignia up, I want to say for about 3 months now, but it's yet to open. They have a location on 8th Avenue. They also have a location right in Times Square. As that brand tries to expand in a very competitive market in the US. I would say one of the most successful pure play chicken brands would have to be Raising Cane's. And then Dave's Hot Chicken, I believe, was just acquired by private equity in 2025. So those businesses that have a very simplistic menu can be very scalable. And I think that's the biggest key for the fast casual businesses to be successful, is you need the scalability while maintaining pretty healthy margins. It's when the menu items get so convoluted is when you kind of see the downfall. And I think that's one of the main things that happened with Starbucks. There's too many menu items. You have to consolidate the menu items. And be able to scale it. But speaking of Starbucks, they now have, well, a relatively new CEO. I think he's been in there for about a year. Brian Niccol, who is arguably one of the best CEOs in the fast casual space by far. I mean, look what he did with Chipotle. Brian Niccol totally turned that entire company around. And now he is at the head of Starbucks. And he's trying to create better in-store experience, which I've noticed. I'm not sure if anybody has noticed this, but it's just like the little details that matter. The stores are much cleaner now. Much, much cleaner. And they've started to roll out to stay cups, which really makes it a better experience. You know, if you want to have your coffee to stay, they'll actually give it to you in a glass or a mug. And if you want a cold coffee to stay, they'll give it to you in a glass, which makes the customers feel a lot more comfortable, in which case that drives repeat business. And in any event, if you guys enjoyed that walking tour after the blizzard, subscribe to the channel, leave a like on the video, and as always, we will see you in the next one, and thank you so much for watching. Take care.